What's up, everybody? This is Seth, and it's, as you can see, it is nighttime here in Thailand, and I was missing my peeps back in the Western Hemisphere, so I thought I would start talking, do a little live stream here, and I did pick a topic which has to do with success and goals, mostly because I, as a teacher and as somebody who is, running an online course, helping people, I get questions all the time from people who are making a real concerted effort to change their lives and to reach their goals, which in my case, it's helping people get new careers. And I had one particular piece of advice that was given to me a long time ago that I thought I would share with anyone who happens to tune in to the broadcast. And then I was just going to kind of hang out. I mean, it's a Sunday morning, Sunday night here. So I don't know how, I never know with YouTube, like how thirsty people are for like real intense, in-depth knowledge or information. I guess maybe it's a 24/7 thing, but I don't know. If I was waking up on a Sunday morning, I don't know if I'd be in that zone. Although my personality, I probably would be, because I'm always consuming information. But basically, I put together a bunch of different video topics, and I've been trying to do more work. I partnered up with Shane Hummus, who's an awesome YouTuber. He's so good at making videos, and I really just want to help you guys. So I was thinking about the questions I get about achieving, like, the goal of getting a digital marketing job or making more money or whatever that thing is. And what I'm assuming when I talk about like a secret for success, what I'm assuming is that you are somebody who is already very driven towards a goal. So there's like different types of success advice out there. People don't really make this distinction, which is that, like, there's success advice for the people that need motivation. They're not taking action. They're not self-motivated. So they need a ton of external encouragement, or not even encouragement. It's like really to be pushed. And I'm not into that. Like, I'm not here to be to make people do stuff. The people, if you're in my course, I think you're already a go-getter. You're already taking action. And now you just need help, like, refining the action that you're taking. So one of the biggest tips that helped me out when I was starting out had to do with the pressure that you put on yourself when you are working towards a goal. And one of the things that I find with my students is that, especially when you've come in with after seeing all the testimonials and seeing all the other people having success, I know there's definitely one of the big pitfalls is you could end up comparing yourself to other people. And this isn't just in my course. This is anyone who's pursuing a goal. We start comparing ourselves. We idolize like Elon Musk and these billionaires, and we start doing all this comparison. You see people on social media being successful, and then the comparison machine starts up. And that's a big, big pitfall. And you want to be aware of that, and you want to stop comparing yourself because it's going to get in the way of your performance and your enjoyment. And the real like secret, like, if I know I put that in the title here, but like the secret for me, what made the biggest difference for me is when I took a particular CD series that I'll tell you about in a little bit later. But the biggest takeaway from that CD series was to remove time limits from your goals, which was kind of weird because every other seminar, every other training I'd ever taken about achieving success or achieving a goal was saying you need to have a specific time limit for success. Like, set a goal. In 1 week, I will have lost 3 pounds, or in my case, gained 3 pounds, or in a month, I will have made X amount of dollars. And you know what? That is actually the wrong advice, guys. So I know it sounds crazy. You always hear people say that, and it's just wrong. And the reason is because if you put a specific date on when you have to achieve something, you will likely fail, because the pressure of that time, the time pressure, will screw you up. There's very few people who can actually, like, it's like counterintuitive, but it's actually gets in your way when you have a hard set date. I'm not saying like if you have a deadline, right, and you need to get something done by a deadline, that's different. But I'm talking about what people do with themselves, again, with like things like weight loss, or like, I have to get a job by this date. You actually work against yourself, because the time pressure that you put on yourself, time pressure, it kills the flow. It makes you stressed out. You end up getting worried and nervous, and you don't perform well. And you can see this even happen in any time pressure is applied, it gets in the way. Again, you can even see high level athletes. I remember watching even like Wimbledon, or like the best tennis players on the planet. You see them get flustered as they get closer to their victory, because their mind gets involved and they start to think, I need to win. They want to control the outcome in a particular amount of time, versus just focusing on their behavior. And that's, I just watched a TED Talk where a guy really, really said this well. He said, basically, you can't control the external, what happens. Like when you guys are applying to jobs, you can't control if somebody gives you a job or not. You could only control how you're being and how you're presenting yourself. And that's why I try to do in the course, to just get you guys to get into that zone where you're just focused on being the person that you want to be, without worrying about a time limit, without worrying about a goal, which is another reason why I tell people, don't come in with desperate. Don't come in when you're desperate. Don't work towards any goal when you're desperate, because you'll work against yourself. It's very difficult to have success if you're giving off a desperate vibe, and then also you're going to be putting so much mental pressure on yourself. Like, I've got to get this job, I've got to get this client. Any of these things works against you. So the whole point is to relax, and I'm going to take my own advice, and I'm just going to chill out, because it's Sunday morning in the US. It's Sunday night here. I was a little bored, and I thought I would give a little bit of advice, but now I'm just going to open up the floor here to the chat. If anybody wants to ask any questions or just chat, feel free to message me, because nobody teaches you how to do a live stream. There is no class in college how to be a successful YouTube live streamer. And I'm not really sure, exactly what interests people, but I felt like getting on here and expressing, and that's what I'm doing. Yeah. So just going to hang out a little bit. Whatchamacallit? Today was a rainy day in Thailand, which is always a little bit of a bummer, but like every other day is beautiful, so I can't complain too much. Oh, thanks, Muhammad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, sometimes I just, need to start talking. So much pressure on myself to find a career path. I'm going to put that up there. I need to hear this advice. I've been putting so much pressure on myself to find a career path, and honestly, it seems paralyzed. Absolutely. We call it paralysis from analysis. I'm glad I could help. It happens to everybody. Guys, it even happens to me. Sometimes my friend Shane makes videos so quickly. And for me, sometimes when I get a video going, I'm like in the zone. But a lot of times I'll start overthinking it, and I'll put pressure on myself, where I think, which is the right thing to say. It's a very common human thing. But especially when it comes to careers, I think the main reason that, the biggest reason people struggle with careers, like I said in the How to Choose a Career video, is because you don't know enough about them. Like, you don't have enough experience. Literally, like if you were going to start playing music, you have to learn all the notes and the chords of the instrument, and you have to learn about the tempo and all these different facets to it. And with career, you just don't know anything about these jobs, and yet people are telling you get a job. It's maddening. It's like somebody telling you to get married when you're 20 years old and you've never dated anybody. Like you literally, it's like physically impossible to do what you're being told to do. So you have to kind of you have to kind of take the initiative to really give yourself that space. Are you putting pressure on yourself, or is it like coming from your family? Because I've seen you comment on a bunch of videos and Shane's videos. Yeah, rainy in Illinois. By the way, yeah. So being on an island, it's. So, I love island weather. It's so unpredictable. It literally will be sunny, and then you'll just see a cloud roll in, and you say, "Uh oh, the rain's coming." You got to run home, or you're gonna get wet. Um, I'll be enrolling in your course as soon as I save up enough. I'm really excited to get started. What laptop? Well, I'll tell you. Actually, I was gonna do a review. I love my laptop, but you don't need a laptop that is this powerful. I use the Acer Predator. i7 Windows. It is like super fast and like it's a gaming laptop. So it's super fast. I love this laptop. You can use it for video editing. You can use it for gaming. You can use it obviously for internet marketing and surfing the web. You don't need that though. I mean, this thing costs like, I don't know, $1,400. But basically what I say for people in the course about the laptop is just make sure you can surf the web quickly. So you probably want to get, if you're getting a Windows, you probably want to get at least an i5, if not an i7. An i3 or Celeron is probably too slow. I bought a Celeron here in Thailand and it was awful. I could barely get on the web. I used a Chromebook, a $200 or $300 Chrome, or maybe it was $400 Chromebook. For years I used that and it was great, very fast. And yeah, and if you're using a Mac, I don't know anything about Macs, but I hear they're pretty fast. Rain is a blessing from Allah. I would agree. I mean, the rain here is it nourishes, and I go out and I was going to share some photos. I mean, there's like banana trees and there's coconut trees and there's jungle and it's just beautiful. It's me putting pressure on myself mainly. Yeah. That overthinking. You know, I did a search on YouTube for overthinking, like how to stop overthinking. It is like the most competitive. Like there are so many videos about that. And that's why I have been thinking of doing like more meditation videos, but I'm not going to do more like spiritually themed titles. It'll be more like meditation as it applies to success and mindset. I highly recommend you guys check out, there's actually three resources I recommend. And meditation basically meaning the practice of slowing down your breathing and becoming present to your thought process so you can actually become detached from your thought process. And that's how you get clarity, because we get attached to our thoughts, and that's why you can't stop thinking. And the resources I recommend are, I'll just tell you right now. The first one is called TM. It's Transcendental Meditation. This is like the most popular meditation form. It's actually the most studied form of meditation in existence. It's been studied by like Harvard Medical School and Yale and Stanford. They've done actual studies comparing like this form of meditation versus just breathing. And it actually lowers blood pressure and reduces anxiety. And it's very powerful. A lot of celebrities do it. Ellen DeGeneres, Jerry Seinfeld, all these famous people do it. And it's like the easiest thing for Western people to do. You have to go and okay, we're back. And the other one I recommend is called Dhamma. It's Vipassana meditation, DHAMMA.org. Vipassana teaches the actual technique that the Buddha used when he achieved enlightenment, which sounds kind of wacky because, you know, that's really, he actually used a particular technique that even Buddhists don't really use. And this Vipassana has these centers all over the world, and you actually can do this 10-day retreat for free. And it's not really a retreat. It's like really intense. You actually do 10 hours of meditation a day in complete silence. They give you a place to sleep and they feed you. It is wild. If you get through those 10 days, by the 10th day, you are like really present and your mind is like quiet. But it's a lot of work. But it's free. So I know a lot of people would like it. Literally, you pay nothing. So anyway, that's a little bit about meditation. I'll go back to the digital marketing thing. What is the next best step after getting a Google Ads certificate? Are you in my course? I mean, there's a lot of things to do. That's why I have 40 hours of training. I mean, the structure of the course is basically like you need to get some hands-on experience and then communicate that experience to an employer. How many years should I work in the field before making courses on it? What field are you referring to? And if you're asking about digital marketing courses, I I don't have any advice for you, man. I don't like, obviously that's my main business is teaching digital marketing. So I certainly don't have any advice for anybody who's going to be a competitor of mine. Yeah, I don't know. It's not my Wi-Fi. It's like my laptop. In copywriting. Yeah, copywriting. Yeah, that's not really competing with me. I mean, dude, there's no rule. There's no rule for it. But what I will say is this: one of the things about like I've been running my course for 6 years, right, which is longer than anyone else I know. And the reason I've been selling it for so long and helping people is because it works. So the real question is like, can you help people? The problem with the world of courses is that there's so much BS. People learn something and 5 minutes later they turn around and teach it, and they don't really know what they're teaching. When I made this course, I already had 5 or 6 years of experience in the field. I had already done everything I'm teaching people. I really owned it. And so my advice on teaching in general is like, it's like, yeah, in certain topics, yeah, you could turn around. Like if you learn how to build a WordPress website, you could probably turn around and show someone else how to build a WordPress website. But you basically have to be able to deliver a result to people. So if you know how to actually help people with copywriting, then you can do it. Yeah. Wolverine Forest, I look forward to signing up for your course. Awesome, man. We look forward to having you in there. How did you hear about me? Was it through Shane or just through like random YouTube? David Morris. God damn it. Sorry. The it's just fresh Windows. If you guys like, I prefer Windows to Mac, but sometimes Windows will drive me nuts. So anyways, sorry if the connection cuts out from time to time. I'm going to try to get it fixed. Shane videos. Yeah, dude. Awesome, David. Thanks for sharing that. Good number of interviews you should be getting per week, per month. Muhammad, it depends on how many applications you're sending out. I mean, look, in general, when you're applying to jobs, like 10% or even a 5% response rate is really good. My students sometimes get even, higher, but it obviously, the number of interviews you're going to get is going to depend on how many applications that you are sending out. And if you're in my course, are you following every single step? Have you changed your resume? Have you generated your experience? Are you customizing each resume? And you can totally, Muhammad, I don't know if you've messaged me before. You can email me with your resume if you're in the course. Hey, Alex, how you doing? Halal says, and since you did mention learning to play an instrument, does digital marketing offer a good work-life balance? Yes. Have you watched the interviews? That we talk about that all the time. Yes. For a career, I mean, any job where you have to work 8 hours a day, you have to definitely, it's a challenge to balance that with the rest of your life. But as you've seen in my interviews, my students are very happy. And they, like, even look at the one with Andrea in healthcare. It's kind of an older interview, but if you look up, like, it's called From Burned Out Healthcare Worker. And I have another one was a burned out payroll administrator. These people are working in jobs where they were burned out and they got into digital marketing and now they have more freedom. And that's usually also a result of the fact that it's usually the culture in digital marketing is just more mature. You tend to trust you more just so long as you get your work done. You're not treated like a baby. Where to sign up for the course? Go to David, go to digitalcareerblueprint.com/level up. Maybe I can put the link here. careerblueprint.com/level up. Digitalcareerblueprint.com. Yeah, so you guys, I'm happy to ramble about stuff, but you guys can feel free to ask me questions here. You're in the live stream. And it is like 10 in the morning over there, right? I have dreams that I'm back in the US from time to time. It's very strange to be out of the country for almost 3 years. Like, I mean, I feel at home here. I love it here. And because of the internet and westernization, and modernization, I mean, Thailand, if I was here 20 years ago, it would have been completely like living in a foreign planet. I think everything is so different, but I've got the internet. People tend to speak English, and there just happens to be beautiful oceans and mountains around. But I have these dreams from time to time that I'm back in the US, and it's very interesting. I'll wake up sometimes really disoriented, and it's just an interesting experience. Let's see, advice on dropping out. I'm in my junior year and I should have listened to myself freshman year, but I didn't know about your course. Should I first get a job in digital marketing, then drop out? I mean, obviously that's a very personal call. I guess what I would need to know, so he wants to know about, and this is a big question. I debate if I'm going to do more like college videos for people, but here's the thing. What is your financial situation? Did you already there's like this thing called opportunity cost, where it's like some people finish the degree because they think they already put so much money into it, but then you're going to have to spend more money to finish it. When you say junior year, does that mean you have two more years of college before you finish? And what are you majoring in? Those are some of my questions for you. Should you first get a job in digital marketing and then drop out? And then the other question, man, it's all about your own personality and your own constitution. Some people, like me, I was a person that I always quit jobs and I never thought about the future because I was just kind of stupid like that. I was just like, I don't like this job, and I'd leave. And I didn't really care that I didn't have anything lined up. Other people, you want to have something lined up so you feel more secure before you drop out. And then the other thing is, if you drop out, are your parents supporting you, and are they going to continue to support you if you drop out? Or are you going to have to, prepare? You're going to have to get a job while you take the course and gain this skill set. So, yeah, there's a lot of factors. I can't give you a quick, like, yes, you should, or no, you shouldn't. At the end of the day, man, I can just give you some insights. Econometrics. You have savings and rent. That's great. Are you on a scholarship, or are you paying tuition? And do you like it? That's another thing. Like, but in general, my advice is like, get out. If you're aware, unless you're on a scholarship and you're really close to finishing, in general, nope, you have to pay in full. So you're already in debt. Yeah, man, or they call it like sunk cost fallacy. Let me look that up. So this is, and you really do need to reflect on this. So sunk cost fallacy is like, yeah, you should look up sunk cost fallacy. It's basically, and it's good you're asking the question, because it's like most people think to themselves, I'm already 2 years in, I already spent a bunch of money, I might as well finish. And because you already are halfway through, but it's like a fallacy, because like it's like now you're going to go even further into debt, and you're going to spend 2 more years potentially, or 1 more year doing something you really don't like. And so yeah, it's just something to consider. I hate this. I dropped computer science. Not in debt. Okay, good. You pay in full, so you have some money. So you're in that situation. This is just, again, my opinion is like, I think giving money to these schools is a waste, considering all the options that you have. Whether you learn digital marketing or web development or coding, or even whatever skill set you decide to get. I think giving these colleges money can be like an incredible waste. You could take that money, again, use it for rent. You could invest it. You could, it's probably thousands and thousands of dollars. But again, don't base your decision. Just, I'm just here to give you some advice. It's up to you. You're the one that has to live. That's what advice I have for everybody is, it's your life. You're responsible for it. And don't worry about what your parents or family are going to think. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that has to live with the decisions in your life. Who's blowing up my feed? Late, great. Stop, dude. It's obnoxious. Funny. Invest in hookers and cocaine. If you're going to make a comment, make it in like one thing. Don't do like 80 things, because it blows up the feed. But yeah, man, this whole disgrace of the family, that's like why I make these college videos, because I'm like, it's like a cult. I look at it like, and I guess I will go on a little rant here, because I was going to do a video the American car industry is very similar. The American car industry was on decline from the 80s on. Just the quality of the cars just kept getting worse and worse. And there were all these inefficiencies in the unions, and there was all this crap. I don't even know all the details. But basically, the interesting thing is that people kept buying American because they wanted to be patriotic and they believed in American cars. But eventually, they couldn't ignore it, because the Japanese cars were just better. And now the American cars are getting better again. But there had to be a correction in the market. And the weird thing with college is that people are going based on this crazy belief. Literally, how could you pressure your child to make this terribly, people are pressuring their children to take out $70,000 in loans, or else become a pariah of the family. This is the dumbest way to invest in something. You're not investing because you did a thorough analysis of cost benefit analysis. You're doing it based on a belief and a platitude. You have to go, or somehow you're less of a person. And it's just, it's a painful example of watching. It's almost it's really like a cult. And I actually have a video planned about that, because if you actually compare what a cult is like to college, they're very similar. In a cult, for example, you are not allowed to question the leadership. And the thing I find the most common in public schools, I literally have had people write to me and say, they're literally just asking the teacher, do I need to go to college? What's the value? And questioning, and they will get shouted down and bullied by their teachers. It's like being in a cult. You're not allowed to think for yourself. You're not allowed to ask questions. So when you recognize that, just know that you're in the right. Hi, Niabella. Minimize costs. And late grade, I think it's great you dropped out of college twice. I would have, you guys wouldn't even recognize me back in 1997 or 8. A very close friend in college dropped out, and I was like, how could you drop out? You're throwing your future away. I was absolutely brainwashed. I was so scared for him. Indoctrination. Job. Kevin says, take it from me. I had my master's and still couldn't get a job for almost 2 years. And I have a job I hate. Doesn't require you to have a degree. I'm sorry to hear that, Kevin. It's just so common. And it's just so strange, because like I said, you can't fight emotional beliefs. People aren't using logic to get these degrees. They're just not, they're not doing a simple analysis. Most people don't even do a job search before they go for a degree. But I appreciate you sharing that, because, people, I think the other reason people keep doing it is because nobody's going back and warning people about this fact. And what's funny you say that, Kevin, because I literally just interviewed my first student. I don't know if you're in my course or not, but I've interviewed my first student who has an MBA, and it was the same thing. He got his MBA, couldn't get a good job, and took my course, and now he has a great job. So we're going to compare the $80,000 MBA versus my $800 course, which is literally 1% the cost of his MBA. So yeah, so college life. What else you guys want to talk about? Been talking for 30 minutes, and I did a video about how to be a digital nomad this week. It seems to be doing very well. People seem to like it. I was going to do some more digital nomad-y type videos, and I'm excited to be maybe traveling again because all the restrictions are coming. And by the way, Thailand has lifted all the entry restrictions, which is wonderful. They used to have these insurance requirements and a Thailand pass, and there was a quarantine, and that's all gone. So you guys are welcome to come to Thailand. I think an MBA might be worth it if your employer pays for it. That's yeah. Actually, one of the things Rain told me, that's a valid comment. Rain, the MBA student, said most of his classmates were people whose employers were paying for their degrees. And sure, I still think it's a waste of their money. It's really, the stuff you learn in these programs is so irrelevant. Like one guy, Rain tells the story. I totally forgot. It was someone who was working at a very high level at some food. It was either a manufacturing company or a food company of some kind, doing their job great. And for some reason, the companies had this weird requirement: go get the MBA. So you take these ridiculous classes about financing and macroeconomics. It has nothing to do with the job. But then you come back and you can say, I have an MBA. And it's really classist. I was going to do a video about, I'll talk about that later, which is going to be what do they call it? Virtue signaling. You know how virtue signaling became like a thing recently? That's what it is. It's like a social signal, and it's an outdated social signal. It's just like in the old days, if you were to, I don't know, wear a certain kind of hat, they would say, oh, this person's high class because they're wearing this kind of hat. And it's a very outdated, the whole college system is extremely outdated. But thankfully, it's on the decline. I was thinking of doing a video called Is College Finally Dead? Because college enrollment is down and people are going to online education. And I was going to do another video called How to Get the College Experience for Free, because the college experience Sorry, guys. My phone is working fine. So it's the computer. So next time I do a live stream, I'm going to do it on my phone, and we'll see if that helps. So I know I lost some viewers. Sorry. What did you guys? What did I miss? Halal said, it's so wild. I work as a hostess at a restaurant, and more than half my coworkers have at least a bachelor's and a master's and couldn't find jobs. It's true, guys. It's true. I don't know when that's going to change. It was the same way like 15 years ago when I was waiting tables. Like, it's the smartest servers you'll ever meet, including myself. I have my bachelor's degree. And that's a good point, Muhammad, too. He says, if everyone has a degree, it's not valuable, supply and demand. And that is the irony. They're literally literally 20 years ago, people would say you get a degree to stand out on a job application. Like, literally, that's what people would say. And I'm like, dude, now the US has like the highest percentage of people that go to college. And it's just like ridiculous, because in some other countries, it's like much lower because the degrees are not relevant. Like, get a history degree, get a humanities degree, you get an English degree, a psychology degree, even business degrees. Then you go trying to get a job where your main duty is like filing papers or doing a spreadsheet. Yeah, it's crazy. Do you feel digital marketing is more suited to be more of a freelance career versus a job? Raymond, I'm glad you asked that, because I actually have a video planned on that. Just because I get that question a lot. It's both. It's whatever you want it to be. Is it more suited freelance career? Really, the decision is yours, because it's really about your personality type. Because if you want to freelance, that's awesome, but you have to get your own clients. And a job, essentially, I mean, when you really come down to it in digital marketing, a job is simply what the job is providing, in addition to the culture and your coworkers and the opportunity to learn and grow in a community. They're providing you with clients and a steady paycheck. Most agencies, like, there's two components. There's the technicians who do the actual work, and then there's all the salespeople. So when you're a freelancer, basically you're like saying, hey, I'm willing to do the sales. I'm willing to get the clients so that I can then have the flexibility of working on my own schedule. And I'll also deal with the kind of stress of having to make sure that I have my clients. Because if you work at an agency and some clients come, some clients go, you still get paid. Unless it's like a really big client that affects the bottom line of the company. But that's really the trade-off. So it depends on your personality. And I also, by the way, I have a lot of students who both work full-time jobs and they have clients, which is a really great way to scale up your income. Let's see. I like that mindset. I'm going to write that down. Oh, are you the great Con? Are you talking about what I just said? No, it's not for everyone. Government programs in New York are just terrible. Yeah, somebody asked if New York pays for vocational education. I honestly don't know, but I am not. Yeah, I don't really trust government programs. And but I will say that skilled trade, like if you're a person who wants to work with your hands, like I met a guy, I remember he dropped out of college and became an elevator repairman, and he loved it. He loved fixing things with his hands and pays very, very well. A lot of these trades, if you have the constitution to do work with your hands, everything from like electrician to linesman, which is more dangerous. It's like being up in dealing with electrical lines. That pays really well though. There's just a lot. And everybody's going to college. It's like funny because like there's all these skilled trade jobs that are open. They can't find anybody to fill them. Is a marketing degree a good major, a good advantage when I'm trying to find a job in digital marketing? And the answer is not. Well, no. You should watch my video. Is a marketing degree worth it? Is a marketing degree worth it? And generally, the answer is it's not going to give you any advantage. There may be some job postings that say they want a marketing degree, and then you can say, hey, I've got one. There might be some internships that you could qualify for, but it's not a tangible, it's not a really like significant advantage. What employers want is your skill set. Because you remember, most marketing degrees, I don't know what you're learning, Eddie, in your program, but my analysis of marketing degrees, like you're learning lots of high level stuff like microeconomics, macroeconomics, maybe one marketing class, and it's very old school, outdated marketing. And And unless you really got trained in digital marketing, PPC, SEO, you're more than likely, that's the stuff you need to focus on. There's so many jobs in America. Everyone starts from the bottom, but with experience, you'll be able to achieve a higher pay. Yep. Is copywriting a good field to master? I heard that that AI will take over that field. I'm not a believer in that. You should talk to my student, Florian. He is freelance copywriter now, making very good money. I don't think AI is ever going to take over copywriting. I mean, it's like, okay, if you're trying to use AI to write like bulk articles, maybe, but I think human beings are reading these articles and the AI can only go so far. It's just like automation, AI being used by Google and Facebook to automate campaigns. Yes, it's very powerful, but there still needs to be a person behind it. I wouldn't if you like copywriting, I wouldn't shy away from it at all. And just look at the existing demand right now. The AI stuff is in place. I don't think it's gonna, it's like if AI was that good, it would just be writing movie scripts, but you can't. Like, there's an element of creativity. There's actually a human element to these things. That's my opinion. What does she say? Should someone who pursues university in the same time take your course so we can decide later which of the two work out? Yeah, that's a great idea. I also tell people here's the thing. The thing I always tell people that's like kind of wacky is like the pressure to go to college is really strange because it's like so urgent for parents and teachers. Like, you have to go. Like, you're 19 or 18, you must go now. And I'm always like, well, why don't you try to get a job or get some other training first? See if it works out without going 80 grand in debt. And if you really can't get a job or you can't find anything, then yeah, go back to college. Sure. Why not? Why not take out that debt? But yeah, so in your case, he asked, should at the same time take your course so you can later decide, basically take college and take my course and see which one is working out. Sure, you can do that. I mean, the thing is, you're going to get more results from my course than you are from college. In college, you're really wasting your time. Like, if you're not paying for it, that's okay. But I just always think it's a waste of time. And the thing is, like, if you put 100% of your effort into learning actual skills that employers need, you can actually get a job in like 6 months. But if you're in school, you're going to have to put all that focus and attention on these ridiculous classes, and you won't have the same progress. I'm not a materialistic person, however, prefer to be financially independent, not a slave of today's systems. What would you recommend us to get a degree in marketing? I think you need to watch my webinar and watch my video. Is a marketing degree worth it? I don't know what country you're referring to, but a marketing degree is pointless. You will not learn anything relevant to the jobs that are out there. You will go into debt and you will waste time. And at the end of the day, if you look at my testimonials, you'll see almost none of my students have a marketing degree, and at least half of my students don't have any college degree. They just got the skills. If I was to do it over, if you do go to college for some reason, do you major? If I were to do it over, if you do go to college for some reason, do your major in the first semester, see if you actually like it. I made the mistake of finishing my gen ed first. This is a great point, guys, and I completely forgot. It's crazy because I went to college like literally, like 20 years ago, right? More than 20 years ago, in the 90s. I was going to do a video about life in the 90s. It was so different, man. We did not have Facebook. We did not have Instagram. We barely had email. Like, I seriously had to go to the library and log into this, like it was like a Mission Impossible type system, the Telnet network, to check my email. It was so old school. And back then, I remember college was all consuming. And the idea was like, yeah, you got to get this degree or like your life is over. And I remember the classes, you took. Now, I was a film major, so I took film classes every semester. What a waste. But you're right. You can take your general ed requirements, and then the major. I couldn't even believe this when I was looking at like marketing and business and stuff. I was like, yeah, you take like 3 classes in your quote unquote major. In fact, I have a minor in anthropology. I completely forgot about that. I took enough classes in anthropology because I thought it was kind of interesting that I actually have a minor. I totally forgot about that. And to get a major, it's like, oh yeah, just take 2 more classes. And then, yeah, you're right. You might take them at the end of the semester. Take them in the beginning. That's really good advice. See if you actually like that major and then drop out, in my opinion. Go to the testimonial video. Florian. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Yeah. Florian, I did an interview with him, the college student making like $85 an hour. His LinkedIn is there. Do you cover copywriting in the course? No, I actually don't cover copywriting because it's already like 50 hours of training on SEO, PPC, and paid social email marketing. And I give you resources. There's a great course, just type copywriting course. And like the first result is this guy named Neville. He's really good. It's a whole other skill set. And another reason why people are very successful with my course is because like I give them a lot of information, but they don't get information overload. But yeah, he was able to take what he learned from my course and then pivot into copywriting. I am from Germany, and unfortunately, the pressure is very high. They want to push everyone into university. Yeah. So I've had some German students, and I can tell. Germany. But here's the thing: Germany has a really good job market, and like I know everywhere in the world, it's the same thing. They don't have enough skilled workers. I had a UK student who lived in Germany and got a job at a German agency. But I also don't know what it's like in Europe. I know the cost isn't as crazy in the US. The reason I'm so passionate about this in the US is because here it is insane. Like I think in some of these European countries, like the university is at least reasonable, or the state government finances part of it. But here, you got 20-year-olds with $70,000 in debt. That's obscene. And that's why I'm so against it. And I would say fight against the pressure, even if your parents and teachers or everybody said you should do it. But in Germany, if you follow the instructions in the course and actually get the skills and show employers that what you can do, you will find someone that will hire you because they just need it. There's like 40,000 open jobs in Germany, at least. I actually could look that up next time I'm on LinkedIn. Same here, Seth. 93 with agent sociology psych major. More power to you, man. I don't know, what are we like? Sesame Street generation or not Gen Z, not Gen X, somewhere in the middle. 93. I graduated in 1999 from New York University. And I was so proud. I really was, until about 6 years later when it dawned on me like a bad dream. I was, what? It's the biggest disillusioning moment was when I moved to LA and I was very excited to work in the film industry. And I applied for my first job and I put my degree at the top of the resume. I was so proud and I assumed that would be very impressive. And I remember the employment woman who was, she's placing people in production roles to work on films in LA, and she looked at me like I was an idiot. I remember she gave me this like bit, New Yorker look of like, why? She's like, what is this? She's like, where's your work experience? And I was like, what do you mean? She said, take this off. What is this? I said, it's my degree from NYU. Yeah, nobody cares. And I was like, it was really painful. I was like, that was like 4 years of my life just suddenly invalidated. And that was the beginning of my wake-up call. Like, holy crap. If the 4 years in college and all that money we spent was a waste, then what about what was high school for? Like the whole thing was like a bad dream at the time. And Halal, I'm going to also say this. I think you said, is copywriting or digital marketing more creative? I would say, well, copywriting is definitely more creative, because you're writing all the time. Whereas in digital marketing, you might be analyzing stuff and writing. But I really think, Halal, you need to try all this stuff. You just got to start trying stuff. And you should, like you said, you should talk to people who do jobs you're thinking about. But you should really, whenever you're in the course, you'll get a chance to do it, to run some ads, to do some SEO, to do some copywriting. You gotta kind of experience it. If you're always thinking about it from a conceptual viewpoint, you're just gonna go crazy. What was high school for? That's really like I said, what was high school for? Guys, that's kind of like what I'm gonna do a video about. That's what Skip College for Success is about. Because I'm like, here's the thing that's crazy about high school that you never realize. Like, first of all, I'm like, I don't tell people to drop out of high school. I'm like, finish high school. But the thing is, you can get really like get C's and D's. You'll still graduate. And no one will ever care about your grades in high school except college. Well, if you know that you're not going to college, suddenly you don't have to worry about your high school classes. You don't have to worry about the SATs. You don't have to worry about APs. You don't have to worry about extracurricular activities to put on your college, your high school transcript. Suddenly high school is fun. You have all this free time. You don't have to worry. You're just like, yeah, I'm showing up to class. I'll take the test. I'll get 50 out of 100 and pass or whatever, 60. And then you could take all that free time and you could have focused it on actually learning marketable skills. Now, I couldn't have done that in 1996, 95, because guys, I wanted to do a video talking about just like how many opportunities there are now, because in the 90s, I mean, it was like literally like the world of the dinosaurs. I mean, we didn't even have cell phones. We had pagers, and like everything moved so slow and you couldn't get information. Like literally, if I wanted to know something in 1990, when I was in high school, to go to the library and hope to find a book on the topic you wanted. And usually it was written 50 years ago. There was no way to learn this stuff. Force socializing. What's that? What's forced socializing? I actually don't know what that means. No degree, 40K in office, 50K remote, all things. Oh, hey, Lady Stacy. That's clever. Is that? You're welcome. Who are you, Lady Stacy? I can't tell from your screen name. No degree, 40K in office to 50K remote. All thanks to your course. Tell all my friends about you. Thank you a million times. You are welcome. It is my pleasure. It makes me happy to hear that. And definitely shoot me an email if you haven't already, or identify yourself, because I can't tell by your screen name who you are. Sorry, guys. It's got to be, maybe it's Chrome. I don't know. The internet, or it could be because it's Sunday night here and they're doing like repairs on the Wi-Fi. For those of you who join later, which is most of you, basically, I just want to tell you the title of the video. I was talking about the secret to success, and basically, my number one tip is to take the pressure off yourself, take time pressure off yourself. That's one of the biggest problems you're probably getting from family and friends, and even yourself. When you're setting a goal, you're told to say, I'm going to have this done by this time. And one of the things I try to teach my students is to you can't control the outcome of whatever you're pursuing. You can't control it. The more you kind of try to control it, the harder it is to achieve. You want to stay in a relaxed state of mind where you just feel positive and good about whatever it is that you're pursuing. And time pressure often cancels that out. So that was what I had initially talked about in the beginning of the live stream before you guys all joined. And again, I do apologize for the drops. I don't know what's going on with my internet. So if it happens, just know I will be back. It seems to be happening every 5 or 10 minutes. So what are you guys talking about? It's true. High school tries to sell you an SATs, AP exam. Dude, I did terrible on all of them. Dude, I was doing a video. I think I did. I screamed about how you should like boycott the SATs. I remember the SATs in high school being so painfully stupid. And even the people, I took the Princeton review course, and I remember the guys even saying to us, said, oh, this doesn't measure your intelligence. It just measures how well you can take the test. And you learn these ridiculous essays and cognition exercises. And it's such a huge moneymaker for that company that puts them on. And that's another thing. Again, if you know that college is a waste, you can, say have a better time in high school by skipping the SATs and skipping classes to go meet up and see cool people. And Wolverine, or I don't know who it was, someone commented they like graduated in 93. And I'll say, I do remember what it was like to be in high school in the 90s, and it was pretty awesome. I don't know what it would have been like if it was now, where there's just, again, all the social media and the Instagram. Like, I'm so glad I grew up without Instagram. It was just a lot of phone calls to landlines. If your friend's mother was on the phone, you couldn't talk. And it was a lot of like dropping in on your friends in person and going out and being out in nature. And you didn't know where people were all the time. That's another thing that I don't think people can imagine nowadays. Like you didn't know what was going on. And it was a nice thing, because then when you saw people, it was like more special. It wasn't like you could check their Instagram and be like, oh yeah, they did this today. You'd be like, well, what did you do today? And you didn't know. And you also felt a sense of kind of peace and privacy as well, that I don't think people have today. I appreciate lifetime access to the course. Being able to take your time has been priceless. That's great, man. That is exactly why I turned it into unlimited access, because, I didn't want people rushing. The SATs were boring. I fell asleep 3 times in the exam. It's really, the SATs, just like the LSATs, again, it's this highly, highly cognitive. It's like these crazy, it's almost like Sudoku or brain twisters. It doesn't really measure your intelligence. It's just the people running our educational system are just stupid. And I think once you accept that and get outside of it, you really, like for me, it's weird because like I don't have kids and there's no reason for me to continue talking about it, but it still bugs me. Let's see. I work as a materials management assistant for a hospital. I have to learn about all the supplies that go into a hospital. Can I utilize your course to market medical suppliers? I mean, I teach the basics of like marketing anything. Medical suppliers, you'd have to check with Google. There's a lot of rules around medical advertising. There's a lot of regulations. You have to, because they don't want people obviously selling illegal stuff, right? The medical field is very particular. But sure, I mean, if you're going to market medical suppliers to hospitals, you can do that. That's more like a B2B type thing, business to business. But yeah, absolutely. This is a great question. Once you start making big money, do your parents really care about a degree? For the most part, no. As much as I rally against college degrees, I really think parents who pressure their kids, what's sad about it is they really do love their kids. And they really think they're doing a good thing because they believe that this degree will lead to financial security, even though it makes no sense to put their 17-year-old in debt to get an English degree. So with nearly all my students, what happens is once they get that first job, they are usually just shocked and then leave them alone. And there's the occasional parent that still will say you should get your degree, but it's very rare. They really don't believe that like learning these skills or getting this online course could actually get them a job. And once they see it, and again, it doesn't have to be big money. You can get an entry-level job for $40K, and most parents are pretty satisfied with that. Let's see. College in USA seems pointless. Here in Europe, we're actually learning about digital marketing. Well, that's great. I haven't looked into the European curriculums, but some of these marketing curriculums are in the US are ridiculous. But even but the thing is, whatever you're learning in college, I'd have to look into that, because again, even the college courses that teach digital don't teach it properly. Most people don't. They teach very conceptual. In fact, even in the US, I believe there's a simulation software. It's so funny. Like they literally purchased this ultra expensive simulation software for Google Ads, a simulator. I'm like, dude, just run a stupid campaign for $100. You don't have to do the simulator program. So whenever you're talking about academic environment, I'm suspicious of like any college and how they would teach. It's academic environment. That's the thing. It's a college. Colleges are not designed to teach anything practical. They're just not, except in even computer science programs. And the people who are into computer science will say that, gosh, the computer science curriculums aren't updated properly. You know, even in engineering and all of the academic system is not set up to be an efficient trainings. It's like a mixture of like old school, outdated academic ideology, and it's supposed to be training people for careers, but it gets all messed up. And maybe in Europe it's different. I don't know. You're right about setting a time limit on your goals. Not everyone handles the pressure really well. When I was comparing myself to other students from your course, that's it, guys. That's what I said in the beginning. I said a lot of you guys, if you're in the course, the biggest pitfall is comparing yourself to other people, because you hear, by the way, when I classic interviews, I used to focus on the time. Like, hey, it only took this person a month. Some people were getting jobs in 2 weeks. But I stopped doing that because I don't want you guys to think that's what you need to do. It might take you longer. It might take you shorter. But you compare yourself, or you say, I have to get this job. And that's why I don't want people coming in with a desperate mindset. Sometimes people say, hey, I don't have enough money to pay, but I'm gonna make the first payment for the course. Like, no, save your money so you can come in and relax. You want to walk into these job interviews relaxed and enjoying yourself. And that's how you get hired. You guys should watch the movie Office Space. It's a classic with Ron Livingston by Mike Judge. And in the movie, it's become a cult classic. It's the guy Milton with the stapler and the Michael Bolton joke. It's from the 90s. It's got Jennifer Aniston before she became really famous. But anyway, the whole point of the movie is he's stressed out about his job. Then he goes to a hypnotist, and the guy puts him in a trance, and he becomes really relaxed. And then he goes into work and he just doesn't care. And then he gets promoted because he's so relaxed. Like everybody likes him then. So I felt like I had to deliver on the same time. So I felt bad internally. Ever since I started doing more than what I had planned, I just thought maybe someone might benefit of all my experience. Yeah, man. Appreciate it, Ivan. Many useful things that have benefited me by watching your videos. You're welcome. You're welcome. That's why I share these things. Oh, wow. You wrote let's see. ADHD. Yeah, if you guys have ADHD or problems focusing, I try to make the lectures engaging and entertaining because I kind of have that too. But everyone has their own pace for everything. And no one's better than the other. And one of the things I like to do is I used to watch documentaries about famous people, and I would see some of these people, a lot of these people, like Morgan Freeman, he never got famous till he was like 50. And I didn't get into my digital marketing career till I was 33. So especially if you younger people, you're putting ridiculous pressure on yourself. You read about people who are like really successful when they're like 18 or 19 years old. Either if they're legitimately successful, they have probably like some of these athletes I was, learning about, who's that the tennis guy, Carlos, starts with an A. I forgot his name. You guys put it on there. He's amazing, but he's been working his ass off for like a decade, right? He's been working his ass off for years. So it doesn't just drop into your lap. And the people who do have overnight success when they're very young, it doesn't last. So you want to put in the time, and it will ultimately last longer. As you speak on why the U.S. What did you say? As you speak on why the U.S. educational system keeps brainwashing middle school and high school kids into college. Why? Oh, I can't explain why folks think that way. But I do think there's a lot of money in it. Look at the federal government is the supplier of the student loans, and you can never get out of those loans. And they make a lot of money from these kids. And there also is a lot of false ideology and misunderstandings. And also the colleges have very strong lobbying power. They lobby Congress a lot. And it's unfortunate. Alcaraz. Yes. Carlos Alcaraz. Yeah, man. He's like what, 17, 18. But these people who are like phenomenal successes, again, some of them, they're like Michael Jackson, he's like this phenom, but he lost his childhood. He's like working like an adult when he's 4 or 5 years old. So that's a big pitfall too. When I was 20, I had a goal, and it ruined my 20s because I had a very big ego, and I said I want to make $1 million and be famous by the time I'm 25. And I was at NYU film school, so I thought, well, I'm on my way. I thought I was such hot stuff, and that goal actually screwed me up because I took it seriously, but I didn't have a realistic plan. I thought that the school was going to give me guidance on how to make feature films, and all they taught you was how to make short films, which is like, I still, after I graduated, I still wasn't upset about that. And it wasn't only years later that I was like, this school has the worst guidance. And you take that's what a lot of students come out of college with, these very unrealistic beliefs, because they've had their egos inflated by this stupid school system. So there actually was a study done where like a lot of students think they're going to come out of school and make $80,000. I'm serious, in their first job, which shows they're absolutely delusional. They are 100% in a dream state. And most of these kids are going to be making $30,000 a year if they can find a job. Agassi. Andre Agassi. Well, Andre is from another time. I am an educator, and they're college-bound programs targeting students as young as 11. Yeah. And that's why I wrote Skip College for Success. And I don't know how to compete with that, but what you're describing is indoctrination, Sherry. I mean, it's like a Happy Meal. I mean, McDonald's created the Happy Meal, right? Not to just give kids toys, but because it's a branding stunt. And it gets kids addicted to McDonald's from age like 3. And colleges do the exact same thing. And it's branding and sales. It's sales. But for some reason, higher education isn't subject to any of the same rules as other industries. You could never indoctrinate or sell to 11-year-olds like other products the way they do college. And it's sad, really sad. Sad. But they're not my kids, so I don't know what to do. Even our teachers in college told us that the degree is pretty much useless. Most companies look for knowledge. Yeah, you're right, man. And I actually said to my math teacher once, I said, I was taking pre-calc. And I was thinking to myself, like, this is what's so stupid about the educational system. Like, if somebody has an inclination towards math and wants to be an engineer, you should totally learn pre-calc and calc. Guy like me is never going to work in the sciences. I thought I wanted to be a scientist when I was younger. I actually wanted to discover the cure to cancer. That's like my ego was like, that was how I thought when I was younger. And I wanted to be a biochemist or a biologist, but I didn't really like it. I just wanted to achieve something. And then when I found film, I was very interested in that, which wasn't a great idea at in terms of, going to film school. But it's like, why are people who are not going to work in a science field required to take math and science classes beyond basic financial math? And so I was doing pre-calc, and I'm doing functions. I'm graphing functions, which I couldn't even tell you what the point of that was. I've never thought about that in 20 years. And I said to the teacher, I said, can you please explain to me what the point of this is? Like, I literally genuinely wanted to know. I actually thought in my head, I said, there's got to be some adult reason we're learning to graph functions. And I was really excited for her to tell me. And she said, I'll never forget it. She said, Seth, you never know. And I was like, you never know? What? I was like, that was the slogan of the New York State Lottery. What do you mean you never know? Like, why would I spend all this time learning something? But like I'm gambling? Like, maybe someday I'll use this? No, this is a really stupid way to train people. Oh, okay. All right. I've been talking for an hour. You guys, this is great. You guys energize me because it's late here. It's almost 11. I'm going to wake up and play tennis tomorrow morning. I am not as good as Carlos Alcaraz. What can we do to retire the smart way? I'm not a great, I don't really give investment advice, but what I will say is that my advice is to get an in-demand skill set so you can earn money. Like if you're younger, you should be focused on putting your energy into earning money when you're young, and then invest it in the conventional. Like I have come to my approach after a few years of seeing how the market works or doesn't work, is that over the long term, things will go up. And if you get in early, like you guys who are in your 20s, if you start your investing in your retirement funds in your 20s, things are going to go up and down, but over time they'll go up. And I'm very conservative person and a conservative investor, so I'm not like a crypto guy. I resisted the urge to make videos about crypto and kind of warning people about it. But I would say just think long term and just start early if you can. And yeah, I would, maybe Shane Hummus, one of my partners, he has a really good channel. I think he might talk about that. I'm just not, I tend to talk more about things that I feel more of an expert on. The thing about investing in the future is like this is what was bugging me about crypto, is that I ran into these people that were so cocky, and cockiness and confidence is a big warning sign in any investment, because you don't know. Even the best stockbrokers don't know, and barely, they did study after study that's saying index funds beat these advisors 90% of the time. Like over time, the stock market goes up, but predicting the ups and the downs is almost impossible. And you got these hedge fund managers who are very good at it, and a lot of them have like inside information or whatever intelligence they have, and they dedicate their whole lives to this. The average person, it's very, very difficult. So when I was meeting people who were like into crypto and they were really confident and cocky, I was like, you got to be careful of that. You really want to be cautious. And I would say when you're trying to invest in things, don't look for quick money. It's gambling at that point. You invest in a stock and you're trying to make a quick swing trade, it's gambling, and you might be good at it and you might win and you might not. But as far as long term, just get in early, and real estate is also good. That's what I've come to understand. I think real estate is going to continue to go up over time. Sorry, Federica. As I said, that's not my area of expertise. Some colleges some colleges such as Dartmouth are not including student loans in their financial aid packages due to low enrollment, but you still have to pay the room and board. Are not including. What do you mean not including student loans in their financial aid packages? You mean they're not? You mean they're giving people more money? That would be very interesting to see if these colleges actually have to adjust to the market. They're getting low enrollment. I would love to see these colleges get lower and lower enrollments. But yes, you do have to pay room and board. I couldn't believe that like my alma mater, NYU, is like, it's like something like $80,000 a year now. I mean, I don't know when people are going to wake up. Oh, they're expanding scholarships. Ooh, thoughts on the movie Fight Club? This is fun. I should probably just talk about movies here. I loved it. I saw it in theaters in 1999. And it's funny you mentioned that, because back in the late 90s, I was in college and I became somewhat of an activist. The funny thing is that there were very few activists back then. Activism wasn't a thing. Social justice wasn't a thing. It was very unpopular. And I actually I wish people would be more political. And I guess I got my wish 20 years later, and I'm not exactly happy about it. But I thought when Fight Club came out, because it is such a scathing, hilarious, dark criticism of capitalism, I thought people were going to like rise up and there'd be some kind of revolution against corporate greed and shit. No, it's just a movie. But I love that movie. And I think I read the book a while ago too. It's so fun to watch, and it digs in also to so many real things about, I think, especially from the male point of view, it's really, really powerful, but also just, I didn't think anyone was going to ask about Fight Club. I don't have anything prepared to talk about that, but I love it. And Tyler Durden, yes. Yeah, Tyler Durden, dude. That book was so, the thing that's really exciting is like, other than Harry Potter, when Harry Potter came out, I don't know if you guys remember, like it was amazing. Like people were excited about a book. Like when was the last time people got excited about a book in the last 10 years? No, everybody's excited about music and movies or TV streaming, but not books. And when Fight Club came out, it was like this exciting, it was just like so real and raw and creative, and it got people talking. And then when the movie came out, it also got people talking, and it was like this exciting book that was like really pushing people to think about our system and the things we take for granted and fighting. Do I have any good movie recommendations? What's really funny? I'll have to think about that. My movies I would recommend would be older movies, because I think the movies have gone downhill and the TV shows have gone up much better. I just finished watching Bosch. I love Bosch. What else did I watch? I liked Sneaky Pete, which was on Amazon. I can give you TV show recommendations. As far as movies go, I can't know if I could think of any off the top of my head. Have you seen Life is Beautiful? I don't know why that popped in my head. It's a classic, amazing, beautiful World War II movie. I like comedies. If you guys are younger, so I'll educate you. The Naked Gun, Airplane, and Top Secret. Those are hilarious. Some of the best comedies and the goofiest comedies you'll ever see. Airplane. Very funny, very offensive, but very clever. I'm a big fan of like Anchorman and Goodfellas. If you haven't seen Goodfellas, I just watched the Honest trailer for that. Love it. That is Scorsese movies are really, really fun to watch. Breaking Bad. Oh my God, there's so many good TV shows. I actually can't even like access them all right now. I'm a big Better Call Saul fan, and I love it because here in Asia, for whatever reason, they put it on Netflix immediately. So you don't even have to have AMC. There's oh my God, I've been talking for an hour, so I'm gonna have to wind down, but I could do a whole other. See, the thing that's interesting is you guys are younger, so like the 80s movies, like I've started meeting people who hadn't seen Back to the Future. So if you haven't seen Back to the Future, you gotta watch it. I've seen that movie a million times. And what I also like, if you've watched Stranger Things on Netflix, what I love about that show is that like that was me. Like I was that age, like 1985, I was 7 years old, and I got to grow up during the 80s and the 90s, which was a really cool time. I was like riding on my bike, my BMX bike with my friends. There was no internet. And like you just roam around the neighborhood looking for stuff to do, play outside. It was cool. If you've not seen Hereditary, it's a pretty good horror. If you like horror movies, you know what this means? It means this damn thing doesn't work. That's right. 1.21 gigawatts. The 80s stoner type movies. By the way, guys, do you know I made a movie? Maybe you don't know this. You should watch my movie. I made a feature film. It's called Wally Got Wasted. It's on Tubi. You guys can go to Tubi and watch it for free. I actually produced and wrote this comedy with my buddy. It was always a dream to make a film. I told you I went to film school and never learned a damn thing about making a feature. But years later, really because of digital marketing, I was able to make a comedy. And we basically did like a remake of Weekend at Bernie's meets The Hangover. It's like about these guys who accidentally kill this bad guy and they screw up getting rid of the body. So they have to pretend he's alive while they're being chased by these dirty cops throughout LA. And we shot it on a really low budget, but it looks amazing. We had this amazing crew, amazing camera, great actors. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Fletcher, nice to see you, man. And thanks. Yeah, I think I saw that. Welcome to the course. I should do another. I used to run another channel called Film School Secrets where I talked about different movies, especially classic movies. Actually, if you guys haven't seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that is very, very scary. And it's fun, scary. Like some of those action and chase scenes are really, like really, really good. Poltergeist, another very scary movie. I'm not a big horror movie guy, but I don't know why that kind of jumped out at me. If you guys, a movie I recommend now is the movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I'll write that down. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. You might have heard of it. It is so freaking good. It is so original. It is so creative. It is like there's action, there's fight scenes. It's emotional. It's about this woman who she runs a business and she's going to be audited by the IRS. But while she's there, she learns that she's like part of all these multiverse. It's like the multiverse, like all these alternate dimensions, and she's actually like a hero who has to like save the multiverse. It's wacky. It's really, really beautiful movie. I love the creativity. It's so original. Because one of the things that gets me about movies these days is, like I watched Jurassic World. I hated it. I felt I haven't gone to the movies in 2 years. I finally went back and watched Top Gun. Loved it. Had a great time. Freaking loved Top Gun. Then I went to see Jurassic World. I was so psyched. And that movie was such a crap fest. It was like such an obvious cash grab. Like Hollywood was like, it's just like a factory. Like they're like, oh, we need another Jurassic movie. It was boring. It was long. It was too long. And there was just like 2 or 3 action scenes. And it was just like a waste. I hated it so much. I was so bummed. But it was like, that's what a lot of these movies are like these days. And there's a lot of CGI. Ugh. Oh, another movie. Halal. The Thing. I think it just had an anniversary. The Thing, John Carpenter. That is a scary movie. It's about, it's so creative, guys. It's like, if you haven't seen The Thing, it's about basically they're like in the Arctic Circle or Antarctica, I forget. There's these scientists, and basically in the beginning, this plane crashes or a helicopter or something, and this guy, these people come out and they're like nearly dead, and then the next thing that happens is some creature is like terrorizing everybody in this compound. But I don't want to give anything away. It's very scary. Oh yeah, thanks, Halal. I should make a separate. Well, I have a separate channel. I just haven't really focused on it in a while because I was teaching film for a long time and I kind of transitioned out of that. Yeah, The Thing. Yeah, that's really good. But there's like really like, I don't know, just like so many good movies I got to see in the theaters when I was younger. And I'm so lucky. I mean, I saw Back to the Future in the theaters. I saw Goonies when it came out. I was a kid. I saw, what did we see? I saw all the Star Trek movies growing up. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. A Few Good Men. The first Jurassic Park. I remember, guys, you can't even imagine the excitement. Back in the 90s, the other thing is like back then there was there were only like a few TV stations, a few newspapers, and movies. There was no internet. There was no cable TV, or there was cable TV, but there's still only a few channels. So like when a movie came out, it was like a big deal. So when Jurassic Park came out, it was like lines out the door, just crazy excitement. And you get into the theater and it was just like, and then nobody had ever seen like special effects like that before with the dinosaurs. Oh my God. It was so much fun. And A Few Good Men, if you guys know that movie with, Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise and Demi Moore as a courtroom drama. Aaron Sorkin wrote it. And, Jack Nicholson, that line, you want the truth, you can't handle the truth. And like, I was like, you're in the theater seeing that for the first time. It was so exciting. I actually remember one of my ex-girlfriends was older than me. She was about 10 years older than me at the time. Like I dated her 10 years ago. I was 30, she was 40. And, or like I was 34. And, she grew up and got to see like Jaws in the theaters and like Star Wars in the theaters, like the first one when she was older. And I was just asking her, I was like, what was that like? I thought, when I die, I was like, I want to just go back in time and see some of these movies in the theater. I think that would be really awesome. I did get to see Star Wars in the theater, but I was like 2 years old. I don't remember anything. I was really young, but I think a Jedi, when Return of the Jedi came out, I was like 5. So I kind of remember that. Oh, thank you. You're so handsome, Seth. You look like you're 25 years old, to put that up there. When you get older, you like to hear things like that. I do think I think that digital marketing helped me stay young because I didn't have the stress. And also I will have to say living on this island for the last 2 years has been very nice. It's been much easier, I think, than living in other parts of the world. And it's also, I do get to go in the ocean every day. It's really cool. But if you guys want me to hear me talk about movies more, I could talk about that. I mean, like Stanley Kubrick's movies. I didn't think The Shining was that great. It's funny, everybody loves it and talks about what a genius he is. I didn't think The Shining was really that great of a movie. And I think Stephen King even said that he didn't really get the concept of the book. So, let me see. What other movies? Field of Dreams, when that came out, that was really exciting. Yeah. I've definitely watched, like, that I grew up with those movies from like 20 years ago. So how did it feel? I don't really talk about my income too much, but if anyone else has any questions, I think I'm going to wrap this up. It's been cool hanging out with you guys, but it's almost midnight here. And yeah, I'm pretty tired. I was out earlier this week. Today I did nothing. One of those lazy days. Let me think of any other. There's just so many. There's this movie called Sorry, guys. That kind of want to punch Windows in the face. I don't know. That was a long break, so I did not mean to cut out after talking about that depressing Bjork movie. But no, I have never seen Eraserhead. But yeah, there's some weird movies. Yeah, I I tend to gravitate more towards comedies now. Um, but yeah, the Marvel, I agree. Great kind of Marvel movies are like I didn't want to see the new Doctor Strange movie because I just it just seemed like it was a ton of CGI, and I just I like it was like I like the thing about Top Gun, why people love it, in addition to the fact that, the script is really good and you've got it's a familiar story, is that they really did those great practical effects with the F like 18 fighter jets. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, so I could talk about movies for a long time, but or actually more TV shows these days. I mean, I'm really like Better Call Saul is just so damn good. I'm really excited to see it finish up. But anyway, you guys can probably see I'm getting a little bit tired here, so I'm gonna head to bed. You guys all have a great day. If you're in America, and if you're in Europe, have a great night. And if you're in Asia, have a great night. And thanks for hanging out. And I will see you guys next time.